What would you say is your job title?
Okay, so I created my own job title, and I get to call myself whatever I want, but I say I'm an LGBTQ activist and educator.
So what exactly does being an LGBTQ activist and educator entail?
A lot. It can mean anything from traveling to different universities, doing workshops and training. It can mean working in classrooms here at Northern. It can mean training staff for rehab centers, or running middle school, high school, community organizations. It can mean advising queers and allies. It can mean anything.
Who all do you kind of work with in that, of like, who do you consider co-workers?
So there are lots of other LGBTQ folks on the speakers circuit: Stephanie Scora, Jack Stringer, Jay Mays III, Hayden, who does Gay SL, and does like a lot of deaf advocacy. So I would consider all those folks my colleagues, because we essentially work on the same circuit. We're doing the same work.
How are your relationships with like other presenters, with it being an individual job? How do you connect with them?
You meet each other at conferences, and then you just like cling to the coolest person you can and you send them a bunch of emails until they're your friend. But it's really, really important to make friends with other people on the circuit rather than trying to compete with them, because there's always going to be someone either charging less or with more experience than you. So there's no point in competing like that. It is really good to get to know other presenters. I look at people's websites all the time. I send introduction emails saying, hey, this is what I do. A lot of my work is about femme identity, like fat identity, and general higher education and LGBT stuff. So I send them an email saying, like, this is my area of expertise. I see that yours is, like with Stephanie, she talks a lot about Palestine and anti-pinkwashing. So, I tell her, I'll let you know if there's a job that needs your skill set. You let me know if there's a job that needs my skill set. And then we can work together rather than trying to compete for the very few jobs and the very little funding there is out there. It just wouldn't make any sense.
Perfect. What is like your favorite part about your job? What do you get out of doing this work?
There is such literally a high at seeing especially undergraduates like come into themselves and start understanding themselves, be that them coming into their gender identity or their sexuality, or even just becoming a fully formed adult. Like that is, it's so cool to watch that happen. And it can be hard, it can be challenging, it can be all of these things. Working with administrators is hard, but to see students flourish as they move through college is like amazing, and something I would never give up.
What are like kind of behind the scenes things that happen that people that would hear about your job wouldn't really think about applying to your job?
You send more emails than you do anything else. And like, I hate sending emails. Can't wait for the day I have a secretary, because that's hard for me. It's hard to keep up with that kind of level of correspondence. You wouldn't believe how many things I have to turn down. Simply because people don't value paying you. People want you to come in and do trainings for free. You're the only gay person someone knows, so they're going to ask you to come train their whole staff, and that is something that I charge for because it's my job. And it's not just free to ask the nearest gay or trans person to you to completely educate you. That's something you have to pay for their labor. So I would say I turn down a heck of a lot of jobs, either because they offer to pay nothing at all, or they get very upset when I say that, what my rates are. And my rates are reasonable, and I do a sliding scale. So there's that. And doing this work, especially in a higher education context, I think people are not prepared for how many people won't like you. And that's really, really difficult. Because the moment you have any sort of power, you're in this position, it becomes very, very easy for folks who are having a rough time, folks who are maybe not very comfortable with themselves, to see you and think it's easier to push my problems on that person and blame that person than it is for me. So you have to really get a nice thick skin about it. You know, there's not everyone will like you, not every administrator likes me, and that's fine. You know, I definitely worry more about whether the students like me than the administrators, because my job is not to be an administrator's friend, but to make change for students. But yeah, sometimes students won't like you, and you still have to do the job for them, and you just get over it.